Hi, this is Polly from thefitmumformula.com, and today I'm going to be talking about macros and asking what are macronutrients, because we hear a lot about them in the health and fitness industry, especially when you hear about people talking about a phrase called "if it fits your macros," which I will come on to in a minute. So, in a nutshell, all foods are one or more type of macronutrient. Macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And every single food in the world fits into one or more of those. And I'm going to give you some examples first of all. So, protein would be things like meat, fish, eggs, tofu and corn as well for vegetarian options. Carbohydrates are your potatoes, pasta, rice, fruit and vegetables are also carbohydrates. Fats are nuts, oils, butter, cream, things like that. Now you do get foods which fit into more than one category. So an example of a fat and protein could be oily fish like salmon. A carbohydrate and a protein, chickpeas and beans are a good one. A carbohydrate and a fat is ice cream. And to point out why, it's because ice cream has got sugar in it. Sugar is purely a type of carbohydrate. Without getting into complicated detail about that, basically, sugar is just a type of carbohydrate, and all carbohydrates are made up of sugars, just some are little sugars, and they're very easy to digest. Think Haribo sweets. Some are made up of lots and lots of sugars, and they take a lot longer to digest. Think whole grains. But sugar is carb, carb is sugar. They're kind of the same thing. Fibre is another type of carbohydrate, but again, it's slightly different. Fibre isn't digested by the body, so some people don't even count fibre when they're counting carbohydrates, but fibre, like in fruit and vegetables and beans, is just a type of carbohydrate. So, why does this matter, and what does it mean to you? Well, you need the right amounts of each to be optimally healthy. Now, what does that mean to you? It completely depends on your goals. Some people are going to need a lot more carbohydrates than others, specifically people who are doing lots of long distance exercise, like really long runs, over 90 minutes, marathons, super long cycle rides, that kind of thing. Some people who may be recovering from illness could do with a little bit more protein to help with recovery, but basically what you need in terms of how much of each micronutrient is going to be different, and I'm going to come on to some examples again of that in a minute. Now, when you look up how much of each micronutrient you need, what you've got to remember is the most important thing for everybody is to get the right amount of calories. However those calories are made up, whatever micronutrients or macronutrients, you choose, ultimately it has to add up to the right amount of calories for you. Even if you've got percentage-wise, you've got it perfect for you and you feel great. If it's too many calories, you'll be gaining weight. If it's not enough calories, you'll be losing weight. And maybe either of those is your goal, but that's what's going to happen anyway. So if it's all too overwhelming and complicated, trying to figure out how much protein, fat and carbs you need, just focus on the calories. Just try and get your calories in check. Now, where macronutrients can be helpful is, let's take, for example, a weight loss goal, because most people watching this and following me will be after a weight loss goal. If you eat foods and macronutrients that don't really fill you up, eating in a calorie deficit, which is required to lose weight, is going to be hard because you're going to be hungry. If you need, let's call it 1,500 calories a day, and you eat 1,500 calories of Haribo, how full do you think you're going to be? Not very, because to be honest, you could probably eat that in about 10 minutes flat quite easily. However, protein is very filling. Fibre is very filling. So again, fibrous foods are a carbohydrate food, but some carby foods are higher in fibre than others. So protein and fibre are both extremely filling. So if you choose to make up your calories out of lots of protein and lots of fibrous foods, you're gonna fill up easier and feel full a lot more quickly and stay full while you're in a calorie deficit. Not so essential for people who are trying to gain weight, and in fact sometimes that can be like unhelpful if you're trying to gain weight. If you need so much food that you just feel sick, you're so full. And with people with weight gain goals, like bodybuilders, that is an issue. That's a real issue. I know lots of us would be jealous of that issue, but it's true. That doesn't always help. But for weight loss, you want to feel as full as possible. So choosing macronutrients that are going to fill you up is really helpful because it'll help stop you going hungry. So once you've decided how many calories you need, you've got a calorie goal, how do you decide what macronutrients you need? Well, not everybody needs to get into this detail, and some people are just very happy to eyeball it, use plates. I personally just prefer to just see how things look on a plate, use roughly half a plate of vegetables, good portion of protein, etc, etc. But if you want to use an app like MyFitnessPal or something similar and you want to count numbers, how do you figure out your numbers? What do you need? Well, if you turn to the government, they'll give you a certain set of guidelines. But most of us in this health sphere, especially in the fitness world, agree that the government's guidelines, while they are perfectly adequate for most people, they're a great starting place and they're certainly a lot better than filling up on junk. They're a little bit outdated, but they're not the end of the world if you want to go along with the government guidelines. And what they'll say is you should eat so many grams of protein per day, per kilo of body weight, because not everyone's, it's relative to your current weight. So a small person will need less to maintain that weight than a very tall, broad person. So that's why it's always referred to as X grams of this per kilo of body weight, and then you can work it out for your needs. So then the next option is to go to something like If It Fits Your Macros or IIFYM.com. I'll put all links to these below, don't worry. Then that will give you a kind of a standard set of calculations. But don't worry, it's all online. You don't need to calculate yourself. You just put in your numbers like your height, your current weight, your goals, that kind of thing, and it'll spit out at the end. You need X amount of calories, so many grams of protein, so many grams of carbs, so many grams of fat. That's a great one, but it tends to be for general fitness, and so it's a very balanced diet. It's a great one, and if you want to use that, that's fine. My issue with this one is it's not necessarily designed with weight loss in mind. Now, the most important things I've already said is calories. The next most important thing, especially when you're losing weight, is protein, because protein will help keep the muscle on your body. When you want to lose weight, you don't want to lose muscle, you want to lose fat. So to try and hold on to that muscle while you're dropping weight elsewhere from fat, you want to have enough protein. And for somebody on a weight loss goal, the more of a calorie deficit you're in, the higher proportion of your diet you want to be protein. And for somebody who's losing weight, you want proportionally a lot more protein in your diet. If you're looking on a plate, there's going to be a bigger proportion of it than somebody who's, say, trying to maintain or gain weight. It's more important. And I find those calculators are a little bit low in protein for my liking for weight loss clients. So what does that come down to? Well, I can't give you an exact calculation. I think the advice to have 2 grams per kilo of body weight protein. So if you weigh 60 kilos, that would be 120 grams per day. Minimum should be a goal. Some people would advise 3 grams per kilo of body weight. So again, if you're 60 kilos, then that would be 180 grams of protein a day. That sounds like a lot, but if you're trying to lose weight and you're in a calorie deficit, then Like, you want to have a lot of protein, and remember that's going to really, really help keep you full. So, right, the calculations, I'm not going to turn this into a maths lesson, but protein has 4 calories per gram. So if you have 180 grams per day of protein times 4, whatever that is, my maths is terrible, it's like, I don't know, 700-ish or something. That means that's the amount of calories you want to eat a day just of protein, okay? So if you've got a calorie allowance of, again, hypothetical 1,500 you need a day, and then roughly 700 of those are going to be protein, what are you left with? Again, my maths is terrible, but what is it? 800 calories left. So that's going to be then divided up between carbohydrates and fat. Those two, it's really down to personal preference after that and how you feel. If you don't have enough energy on really low carb, then have some more carbs. If you don't feel full, if you eat too low fat, then make it more fat, But basically, make sure you've got tons of protein in and don't go over your calorie allowance. And that's probably all the information most people need to lose weight. So we got a little bit complicated there, and I know you might want to go over and watch this video again and take some notes. But in summary, macronutrients are proteins, carbohydrates and fats. All foods fit into one or more of those categories. Some, like dairy and some yogurts, are all 3. They're like a pretty well balanced all 3. You need to primarily, your most important thing is getting enough calories in the day, the right amount of calories for your goal, whether that's weight loss, gain or maintenance. The next most important thing is getting protein, your protein right, and the more you want to lose weight and the more a calorie deficit in, the higher you want your protein to be, possibly up to 3 grams of protein per kilo of your body weight, okay? And then after that, fill in the gaps with protein and carbohydrates. Now, it's going to take a bit of trial and error. If you're new to using an app like MyFitnessPal, you'll probably get it wrong or be way off the mark the first few times. But after a while, you'll get so used to eating certain meals that seem to make your numbers add up that you'll go, okay, I know what a meal looks like now. I can see on a plate roughly what it looks like. And so without even using the app, you could go to like a restaurant or a buffet and right, I know that a decent portion of protein looks a bit like that. And I know that I need this amount of vegetables. And I know that I can add this teaspoon or tablespoon of maybe some extra fats, some seeds and avocado, whatever, if you need it. And you'll be able to see. So don't get too stressed over it. But that's a very, very simplistic overview of macronutrients. And we could be here forever and we could be here all day if we're going to go into more detail. But I think that's enough for one day. So if you've got any questions about that, please do comment below or drop me a line, polly@thefitmumformula.com. I know it's a little bit of a complicated topic. So I'll put some links there and I'll try and illustrate it the best I can. And just do your best. If your goal is weight loss, start with the calories and make sure you get enough protein. Eat loads of fibrous vegetables because they're good for you anyway. And most people, that's enough, to be honest. But any questions, just let me know. Alright, thanks for watching.